It gets the game started, but simply has no connection with what's happening on the field. It's just a courtesy. Yeah. Or it's like putting coins in a drink machine and pushing the button and not getting the drink. So then what do you start doing? You just keep pushing. Pushing again and again, waiting for the drink, which never comes sometimes. And then you finally kick the machine and wave your hand and say a few choice words and walk away. And many of us have given up on prayer because while it is something we know we are supposed to do, we feel it just doesn't work. See, the scripture tells us that in the early morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went away to a secluded place and was praying. What did he say? He said he got up early before anything else happened in his day to go and pray. Now, since this is the synoptic gospels, that means that they parallel. Matthew and Luke has something to say about this too. Matthew said that in 4:12, he said that he withdrew. Luke 4:42 said an isolated or deserted place. But everybody is saying that there comes a time in our life where we got to get somewhere by ourselves and talk to God. My. And we got to want it to be the first thing that we do. Jesus lets us know, because in this text it shows where Jesus prayed. And note the words. It says he departed, as I said, in a solitary place. The solitary place is not identified in a specific place. It could have been someplace out in the countryside. Quite often, it could have been in your car, on your way to work. And sometimes just turn your radio up. Hello. And talk to God all the way to work. Yeah. That place where you can get just you and him. See, the fact of importance is that Jesus had a place where he could be alone with God. And he needed to be alone with God. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. As Christians and as those who Jesus lives in, are you a believer? Are you saved? And know you're saved. Well, that same Jesus needs to get to a quiet place where he can commune with the Father. If he needed it then, he needs it now. My God. See, the only difference is now is we're the ones who's carrying him. My God. See, if Jesus, the Son of Man, needed so much time alone with God in prayer, how much more time do we need? See, what an indictment against us for so many of us, so many believers don't not have a prayer life. What is it exactly that God wants to communicate to us in prayer? Well, he wants to let us know that prayer has the power to move mountains. He wants us to know that whatever you ask for in prayer, you'll receive if you have faith that he'll do it. My God. Look to somebody and tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, he just wants you to know that nothing is impossible to him that believes. See. I stand here this morning and Deacon Beam, I have to admit I have a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to prayer. One example is if God has a sovereign plan for each of our lives, if everything has already been planned, then why would we bother to pray at all? Yeah. Does prayer really change things? Does it change God's will? Why is it that I pray about some things for months and years and God doesn't answer? You see, there's somebody in here now that's been praying for some stuff and God haven't answered yet. So therefore, when we don't get the answer, we ask, well, God, are you listening? Or is it even worth setting aside this time talking to God? I asked him one time for something, and somebody else says, you prayed for one thing, and he delivered an answer instantly. And sometimes he deliver it with such dramatics, it make you think, God, he sure loved me. But then there's that thing that you keep praying and get no answer. Why does God so often seem sometimes, it's a question that I have, Brittany, that he answers other people's prayers, but it seems like not mine. Anybody ever been there? Yeah. You've been praying for a particular thing, probably a house, and then here comes somebody, I'm going to sign my papers. I've been praying for a house for the last 10 years, and I ain't got one yet. So we question, have you ever had those kinds of questions about prayer? Yet all of our questions about prayer melt away when we just start thinking with me how good he is. He may have an answer, that prayer, but look at everything else. My. Look at everything else he's done for me. And that's why when I look at Jesus in this particular story, the example of prayer, the text of this gospel, it is interesting to note when this event in Jesus' life occurred, it was the day before this event was the busiest recorded day in Jesus' ministry. Jesus has spent the entire day and evening preaching and teaching and casting out devils and meeting with other folk and ministering to people individually. And then he get up in the morning after all that he done went through. But if you go back and you read all the different texts and different views of it, you'll find out that he was out there all day up into the night. Then he goes to bed. And then he's up way before day praying. Look at this thing. Let's look at it on the screen. I'm gonna do this and I'm about ready to let you go. See, Mark 1, verse 21 through 34, Lois. It says, and they entered into Capernaum. And it says, immediately on the Sabbath, he went into the synagogue and began to teach. And they were completely astonished at his teaching. For he was teaching as one who possessed what? Authority. And not as the scribes. Just at that time, there was in the their synagogue a man who was in the power of an unclean spirit. And it says, and now immediately he raised a deep and terrible cry from the depths of his throat, saying, what have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. Now, see, that got me, Miss Vernell, because we got a demonic force here that know Jesus. My God. And we got folk that he wake up every day and love that still don't know him. He said, and the Bible says, and Jesus rebuked him, saying, hush up and come out of him. And the unclean spirit, throwing the man into convulsions and screeching with a loud voice, came out of him. And they were all so amazed and almost terrified that they kept questioning and demanding one of another, saying, what is this? What new fresh teaching? With authority, he gives orders even to the unclean spirits, and they obey him. Verse 28 says, and immediately rumors concerning him spread everywhere throughout all the region surrounding Galilee. And at once he left the synagogue and went into the house of Simon and Andrew, accompanied by James and John. Now, Simon's mother-in-law had for some time been lying sick with a fever. And at once they told him about her, and he went up to her and took her by the hand and raised her up. And the fever left her, and she began to wait on them. Now, when it was evening, now we don't see now, he done started all day long. He been casting out devils, praying for people, walking from place to place. He didn't have that Toyota Camry that he could ride from place to place. Hello, he had to walk to each location, and then once he get there, he had to struggle and pray for these demons to release themselves from the house and from the people, which is draining. And let me ask this question. Have you ever tried to pray, amen, for you sit down and say, well, I'm going to pray. I'm trying to pray for about an hour. I'm trying to pray for 30 minutes or whatever. How straining is it for you to stay there? See, you got to think about that he is focused and he is staying on the case to make sure that no matter what's going on, that the devil is going to let go. And when you deal with them kind of situations, now, if the devil don't want to let you go, oh my God, how you think he's going to fight the one who's trying to make him leave? My God, if it's taxing and weighing on the person who got it, then it's going to be taxing on the one who's trying to get rid of him. Especially when they know you got the power to get rid of him. You better look at your neighbor and say, you got the authority and the power to run the devil out. Y'all don't hear me here. See, the devil is not going to leave you alone. He's going to fight you with everything that he got, because he know all you got to do is just like Jesus, say, get out of here. But they fought him all day. Now, when it was evening after the sun had set, they brought to him, look now. He done all this all day long. All morning.